You walk through your door after a long day. Your cat sits by the window, watching. You step past her without a word, heading straight to the kitchen. In that single moment, you just broke her heart a little, and you had no idea. Right now, as you watch this video, there's a good chance you're emotionally hurting your cat in ways you never imagined. Not because you're cruel, not because you don't love them, but because cats speak a language most of us never learned to understand. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 9 everyday behaviors that are quietly crushing your cat's emotional world. Some will shock you, others will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about living with a feline. Number 9, walking past them like they're invisible. Here's something most cat owners get completely wrong. You come home after 8 hours, your cat is there, waiting, and you walk right past them. Shoes off, phone down, straight to the couch. In your mind, you're just decompressing. But in your cat's mind, something devastating just happened. You ignored them. Research from Oregon State University revealed something extraordinary. Cats form bonds with their humans remarkably similar to how children bond with parents. When you walk through that door, your cat's brain floods with dopamine and oxytocin. Your cat has been tracking time, anticipating your return, and the moment you arrive, their entire world lights up. But when you ignore that greeting, when you don't acknowledge their presence in those first critical seconds, you're sending a message you never intended. You don't matter, I don't see you. Cats who receive consistent greetings display more secure attachment behaviors. They're more confident, less anxious, and emotionally stable. But cats who are regularly ignored can develop subtle forms of insecurity and even separation anxiety. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. 2 seconds. When you walk through that door, crouch down, say their name. A gentle stroke. These tiny moments build enormous emotional security. Number 8, giving them the chase but never the catch. Let's talk about one of the most popular cat toys on the planet. The laser pointer, that little red dot that sends even the laziest cat into a hunting frenzy. It looks like harmless fun, except your cat isn't happy. They're frustrated, and you're the reason why. Cats aren't just playing when they chase that dot. They're hunting. Their brain doesn't distinguish between a laser point and a mouse. When that red light zips across the floor, every instinct screams prey. Their pupils dilate, their muscles tense, they're locked into predator mode. But here's the problem. They never catch it, never feel it in their paws, never get that crucial moment of completion when the hunt ends with success. For a predator, that lack of closure creates deep psychological frustration. Researchers studying feline behavior have found that cats need to complete the hunt cycle, the stalk, the chase, the pounce, and most importantly, the catch. Without that final step, the experience becomes hollow and stressful. Some cats develop what behaviorists call laser pointer syndrome. They become obsessed with chasing lights and shadows. They fixate on reflections. Some develop compulsive behaviors, constantly searching for that dot that never stays caught. The solution is simple. If you use a laser pointer, always end the session by directing the dot onto a physical toy, a stuffed mouse, a ball. Let them feel that rush of successful capture, or better yet, skip the laser entirely and use wand toys or anything they can actually hold in their paws. Number 7, touching them in all the wrong places. You see your cat, they look so soft. You reach down and rub their belly, and suddenly teeth sink into your hand, claws rake your wrist. You pull back, confused. What just happened? You just violated your cat's boundaries. Not all petting is created equal in the cat world. Your cat has a very specific petting map. Zones where touch feels good and zones where it feels threatening or even painful. Ignore that map, and you're not showing affection. You're causing distress. Cats have highly concentrated nerve endings in certain areas, particularly the belly, paws, tail base, and legs. For many cats, touching these zones doesn't register as pleasure. It registers as vulnerability. In the wild, exposing the belly means exposing vital organs. These areas are danger zones, not comfort zones. But every cat's petting preferences are unique. Some cats love belly rubs. Others will tolerate exactly 3 strokes down their back. Some want head scratches only, and those preferences can change over time. When you ignore these boundaries, you're not bonding, you're breaking trust. Your cat starts to see your hand as unpredictable, unsafe. Some cats start avoiding their owners entirely. Learn your cat's language. Start with universally safe zones: the cheeks, chin, forehead, and area behind the ears. Watch their body language. If their tail starts twitching, stop. If their ears flatten, back off. If they lean into your hand, you've found a good spot. Number 6, invading their sanctuary. Your cat is curled up under the bed, peaceful, hidden, safe. You need to vacuum under there, so you reach in, you grab them, you pull them out. You just shattered their sense of safety. Cats are both predators and prey animals. That dual nature means they need places where they feel completely secure, spaces where no one can surprise them, no one can corner them. These safe spaces are essential. When a cat retreats to their hiding spot, they're engaging in emotional regulation. Maybe they're overwhelmed by noise. Maybe they're processing stress. That space allows them to reset, to feel in control. But when you violate that space, you strip away that sense of control. And for a cat, losing control equals danger. You become unpredictable. The one place they thought was safe suddenly isn't. Cats without adequate safe spaces exhibit higher levels of anxiety. They're more likely to develop behavioral problems, more likely to become aggressive, more likely to hide constantly because nowhere feels secure. The rule is simple. If your cat retreats, let them. If they're sleeping in their spot, leave them alone. Don't follow them. Don't pull them out. You're giving them the gift of control. And when a cat feels in control, they feel safe. Number 5, raising your voice and thinking they understand. Your cat knocks over a glass. Water spreads across the table. You snap. Bad cat, no! Your voice rises, sharp, angry. Your cat freezes, wide eyes, flattened ears, then they bolt. You think you've taught them a lesson, but here's what actually just happened. You terrified them. Cats do not understand punishment. They don't connect your anger to their action. What they think is, the person I trust just became dangerous. Feline cognition works on immediate association. If there's a gap of even a few seconds between the behavior and your reaction, your cat cannot make the connection. And even if your timing is perfect, what they learn isn't don't do that behavior. What they learn is that human is unpredictable and scary. Punishment-based methods damage the human-animal bond. Cats who are regularly yelled at become more anxious, more fearful, and often more aggressive. And cats have extraordinarily sensitive hearing. They detect frequencies far beyond human range. What sounds like normal volume to you can be painfully loud to them. When you yell to your cat's ears, you're being violent. This creates learned helplessness. Your cat can't predict when you'll be safe and when you'll be dangerous. They become withdrawn, anxious. The alternative is positive reinforcement and redirection. If your cat is scratching the couch, guide them to a scratching post and reward them. If they're jumping on counters, understand why. Training your cat isn't about dominance, it's about communication. Number 4, assaulting their ears with chaos. Your vacuum roars to life. Your cat vanishes. You're watching TV at full volume. Your cat presses themselves against the wall. You're having an argument, voices raised. Your cat hasn't come out from under the bed in 3 hours. You're destroying their sense of safety with sound. Cats detect frequencies up to 78,000 hertz. Humans top out around 20,000. They can hear ultrasonic sounds completely invisible to us. This extraordinary hearing evolved for hunting. But in a human home, that superpower becomes a vulnerability. A vacuum cleaner that's loud to us is devastating to them. A slammed door is an explosion. Raised voices register as genuine threat. Loud, unexpected noises trigger their deepest survival instincts. Studies show that cats exposed to loud environments exhibit elevated heart rates, increased cortisol levels, and behavioral changes that persist after the noise stops. Cats living in chronically noisy homes hide constantly, stop eating normally, develop over-grooming, and become hypervigilant. And it's not just the volume, it's the unpredictability. If your cat can't predict when the next loud sound will come, they live in constant alert. That's exhausting, traumatic, and it erodes their mental health. The solution requires awareness. Lower your TV volume. Close doors gently. If you need to vacuum, give your cat access to a quiet room first. Never yell around your cat. Your voice should be their comfort, not their source of fear. Number 3, ignoring their words. Your cat sits beside you. They meow. You don't look up from your phone. They meow again, louder. Still nothing. They headbutt your arm. You absently pet them once and return to your screen. They walk away. You just told them they don't matter. Here's something that will change how you see your cat. Adult cats don't meow to each other. Meowing is a vocalization that domestic cats developed specifically to communicate with humans. When your cat meows at you, they're using a language they created just for you. Cats modify their meows based on what they're trying to express. Hunger sounds different from loneliness. A greeting sounds different from a complaint. Some cats even develop personalized meowing patterns unique to their specific humans. But those meows, those chirps, those slow blinks, the rubbing against your legs, these aren't random behaviors. They're communication. Your cat is talking to you constantly, and when you ignore them, you're telling them their voice doesn't matter. Over time, this creates emotional distance. Your cat stops trying to communicate because they've learned it's pointless. They become withdrawn. Some develop attention-seeking behaviors that escalate, and for some, they just shut down entirely. Cats who feel heard and understood show significantly more secure attachment behaviors. They're more affectionate, more playful, more willing to interact. The fix is about presence. When your cat meows at you, acknowledge them. Look at them. Say their name. If they slow blink at you, slow blink back. That's cat language for I love you. Number 2, forcing them into social situations. Your friend comes over. You know your cat is shy, but you want to show them off. So you pick up your cat and try to make them interact. Your cat's body is stiff, their tail is tucked, their ears are back, but you keep holding them. In that moment, you're not socializing your cat, you're traumatizing them. Cats need to feel in control of their social interactions. This is fundamental to their psychological well-being. When you force a cat to meet strangers, to be held when they don't want to be, to interact when they're not ready, you strip away that control. And for a cat, losing control equals danger. Research from 2019 showed that most cats form secure emotional attachments to their humans, similar to how babies attach to parents. But those attachments require trust, and trust requires respect for boundaries. Cats rely heavily on scent and body language to evaluate new situations. This process takes time. Rushing it overwhelms them. Some cats become so stressed by forced socialization that they develop long-term anxiety around people. They start hiding whenever anyone visits, all because they learned that humans don't respect their need for control. Proper cat socialization means you let the cat approach. You let them set the pace. You let them decide when to be touched and when to walk away. You create an environment where the cat feels safe enough to be curious. If you have guests, give your cat a safe room to retreat to. Let them observe from a distance. Some cats will eventually approach, others won't, and that's okay. This respect for autonomy builds confidence. Cats allowed to socialize on their own terms often become more social over time. Number 1, suffocating them with scents. You light a lavender candle. You spray air freshener after cleaning the litter box. You switch to floral-scented cat litter because it smells better to you. You put on perfume before cuddling your cat. All of these things are torturing your cat. A cat's sense of smell is 14 times stronger than yours. What smells faintly pleasant to you is an overwhelming assault on their senses. But it's worse than that. Cats rely on scent to understand their world. They use pheromones to mark territory, to feel safe. Their entire sense of security is tied to scent. When you fill your home with artificial fragrances, scented litters, perfumes, air fresheners, you're not just creating unpleasant smells. You're masking the scent markers your cat uses to feel safe. You're disrupting their ability to recognize their own territory. Research shows that cats exposed to strong artificial scents exhibit measurable stress responses. They avoid their litter boxes because the scented litter overwhelms them. They become anxious and disoriented. And those scented products aren't just psychologically harmful, they're physically dangerous. Cats have delicate respiratory systems. Artificial fragrances can irritate their lungs, trigger allergies, and contribute to asthma. Your cat might be sneezing or coughing, and you never connected it to that vanilla-scented candle. Some cats develop litter box aversion entirely because of scented litter. They'll start urinating outside the box, not because they're being spiteful, but because using the box has become intolerable. The solution requires a shift in thinking. Unscented everything. Unscented litter. Unscented cleaning products. No candles while your cat is in the room. No air fresheners. Clean the litter box daily instead of trying to mask the smell. Your home might not smell like a spa, but your cat will feel safe. Closing. 9 ways. 9 everyday behaviors that are silently breaking your cat's heart. Walking past them like they're invisible. Giving them the chase but never the catch. Touching them in all the wrong places. Invading their sanctuary. Raising your voice. Assaulting their ears with chaos. Ignoring their words. Forcing them into social situations. And suffocating them with scents. Each one might seem small in isolation, but together they create an environment where your cat feels unseen, unheard, unsafe, and unloved. The heartbreaking part is that most cat owners have no idea. They love their cats deeply, but love without understanding is just good intentions with painful consequences. The beautiful thing is that every single one of these is fixable. You don't need expensive toys or complicated training. You need awareness. You need to see your cat as they actually are. You need to learn their language, respect their boundaries, honor their needs. When you do that, something magical happens. Your cat doesn't just tolerate you. They bond with you. They trust you. They seek you out because being near you makes them feel safe and loved. That's the relationship every cat owner dreams of, and it's waiting for you. If this video opened your eyes, glass falls. The cat flinches. You laugh it off. They don't. They never do. Cats remember everything. Not like humans. They don't journal. They don't gossip. But they store emotional snapshots. Every smell, sound, and movement gets logged. You might think they're zoning out when they stare at you, but they're actually reviewing a highlight reel of your greatest betrayals. So today, we're breaking down the 10 things your cat will never forgive, and why their memory is far more powerful than you think. 1. Raising your voice. To a cat, your yell isn't just annoyed human noise. It's an explosion. Their ears are fine-tuned to detect the smallest rustle of prey in the grass. So when you shout, it's like setting off a bomb in their head. Maybe you were mad at the TV, or you dropped your phone, or you told them to get off the counter. Doesn't matter. That sound imprints in their brain as danger. The next time you approach, they'll pause, eyes wide, tail twitching. And here's the scary part. They remember tone. You can apologize all you want, but their brain keeps that sound on file. It becomes part of their survival code. When that voice rises, run. So yeah, your cat might look calm when you raise your voice, but deep down, they're clocking every decibel like a tiny emotional archivist. 2. Touching without permission. Cats are not touchy-feely roommates. They're landlords. You live in their space. When you reach out mid-nap or grab them without warning, that's a trespassing violation. Their body is sacred territory, and you just barged in without knocking. You might think, what's the big deal? I just wanted to pet them. They think, that's the hand that woke me up last Tuesday. It sounds dramatic. But cats don't forget invasions of comfort. Their nervous system remembers where and when they felt startled. And because they associate touch with safety, one bad grab can undo months of trust. Next time they approach, they'll sniff your hand first, check your angle, measure your mood. Cats forgive slowly and sometimes not at all, especially if you broke the golden rule. Don't touch a sleeping cat. 3. Playing too rough. You wiggle your fingers. They pounce. It's adorable, until claws sink in and suddenly you're bleeding. So you pull away, yell no, and your cat looks confused. That's because you started a game their instincts took seriously. When you make your hands the toy, you blur the line between play and attack. Then, when you punish them for responding, they feel betrayed. Now they don't know when you're safe. Your hands went from playtime to punishment in one day. That unpredictability sticks. Cats crave consistency. It tells them who's friend and who's threat. So when you move too fast later, even just to pet them, that hesitation you see in their eyes, that's memory. They're asking, is this the game where I get hurt again? 4. Harsh discipline. Spraying water, swatting, yelling, the classic training tricks. All of them destroy trust. Cats don't connect cause and effect the way you think. You're not teaching them not to scratch the couch. You're teaching them you are unsafe. They remember the moment, the fear, and most importantly, the source. And unlike dogs, cats don't see you as pack leader. They see you as a roommate with unpredictable mood swings. Once that line is crossed, good luck repairing it. You can buy treats, new toys, even a fancy scratching post, but deep down, they'll always remember the version of you that scared them. And fear, once planted in a cat's mind, takes a very long time to die. 5. Ignoring their needs. You missed feeding time. You left the litter box dirty. You didn't notice the limp or the bald patch or that silent meow that meant help. To you, it's life being busy. To them, it's betrayal. Cats don't nag. They wait. They watch. And when their routine breaks, they don't complain. They just stop trusting the world around them. If food doesn't come when it should, or their box smells like a crime scene, they don't think, oh, he's late. They think, my environment isn't safe anymore. Neglecting a cat isn't about cruelty, it's about chaos. They thrive on predictability. Every skipped meal, every ignored signal becomes a note in their emotional ledger. And they do keep score. 6. Rearranging their territory. You move the couch, shift the litter box, or redecorate for aesthetics. Your cat sees it as a home invasion. Their world is built on scent and spatial memory. Every object, every path, every sleeping spot tells them, you're safe here. When you change that, you erase their mental map. They'll walk around sniffing every inch, tail low, eyes wide, not curious, anxious. They have to rebuild their sense of home from scratch. Do it often, and they'll start withdrawing. Sleeping in corners, avoiding eye contact, maybe even marking territory just to say, this is still mine. So next time you rearrange the living room, remember, to your cat, you didn't move a chair. You moved the entire universe. 7. Waking them up. It's 3 p.m. Your cat is melted into a sunbeam, purring softly, whiskers twitching in some perfect little dream, and you poke them awake. Why? Because they looked cute, because you wanted that slow stretch for a TikTok or a photo, because you couldn't resist. Congratulations. You just committed emotional theft. Cats aren't lazy. Those hours of sleep aren't a quirk, they're survival. Sleep is when their bodies repair muscle, regulate hormones, and process everything that happened that day. Waking them mid-nap isn't adorable. It's like yanking someone out of deep REM sleep and demanding they smile for a selfie. They come out groggy, disoriented, and annoyed. They remember exactly where it happened and who did it. And they'll act on that memory. They'll shift sleeping spots, hide under furniture, or retreat to a high shelf just to keep their peace. You'll start to notice they no longer curl up near you in the afternoon, and it will all trace back to that one cute moment you couldn't resist. In their world, you turned a sanctuary into a trap, and their brain won't forget it anytime soon. 8. Startling or scaring them. Cucumber pranks, balloons, Halloween masks, you name it. Humans have somehow turned feline terror into entertainment. But for your cat, those funny moments are full-blown panic attacks. A sudden shape behind them, a loud pop, or a strange object placed where they feel safe triggers their primal survival system in an instant. Their heart pounds, claws shoot out, muscles lock, and their body floods with adrenaline. In that split second, they're not your pet. They're prey fighting for their life. And when they realize it was you behind the scare, that's when the real damage begins. Because cats don't fear strangers as much as they fear unpredictability from the ones they trust. You're supposed to be their protector, their constant, their safe place. When you become the source of fear, the world tilts for them. Even days later, they'll still be on edge, flinching at shadows, twitching at tiny sounds. watching corners like something's waiting there. You might have laughed for 10 seconds, but they relive that terror quietly, over and over. That's the thing about cats. They don't forget fear, especially when it comes from love. The same brain that remembers warmth and affection also remembers betrayal with perfect clarity. So next time you're tempted to test their reaction for a laugh, remember, it's not a joke to them. It's trauma disguised as play. And they'll remember the scare long after you've forgotten the laugh. 9. Hurting their paws. Let's talk about paws, the most sacred, sensitive part of a cat's entire body. They're not just cute little jelly beans for you to poke and coo over. Each paw is a masterpiece of precision, packed with thousands of nerve endings, vibration sensors, and tiny scent glands that help them navigate the world. Cats feel the world through their feet, the way the ground shifts, the temperature of a surface, even the heartbeat of a mouse under the floorboards. Those paws are how they hunt, climb, stretch, and claim territory. So when you grab them, squeeze them, or trim their nails carelessly, it's not grooming, it's a violation. And declawing? That's beyond betrayal, because declawing isn't just taking off the nails, it's an amputation. The removal of the entire last bone of each toe. Imagine losing every fingertip down to the knuckle. Every step afterward burns. Every stretch reminds them of what's missing. A cat that's been declawed walks differently, moves differently, feels differently. Some develop chronic pain. Others slip into quiet depression. Even if they look normal on the outside, their body remembers what was taken. Their gait stiffens, their confidence fades, and something in their spirit dulls. Because you've altered the very tools nature gave them to feel safe. So when your cat pulls their paw away, flinches, or hides their feet, don't take it as rejection. That reaction isn't attitude. It's instinct. It's memory etched into their nerves over thousands of years of evolution. Their paws are their pride, their weapon, their balance, their sense of identity. You're not just touching their foot. You're touching a part of them that was designed to never forget pain. Handle it with reverence, and they might just learn to trust that touch again. 10. Forcing affection. You pick them up, you hug them tight, you say, "Aw, come on, just love me." They're stiff, they squirm, you don't let go. Congratulations. You've just turned love into confinement. To a cat, being restrained isn't affection, it's captivity. They're creatures built on freedom, control, and choice. Every muscle, every reflex in their body evolved to react fast, escape faster, and stay alive. So when you scoop them up without warning, their brain doesn't process hug. It processes, "I've been caught." Their heartbeat spikes, their whiskers stiffen, and their pupils widen, not from joy, but from panic. Even if your arms are gentle, instinct screams, "Trap." They'll remember everything. The smell of your shirt, the sound of your breath, the squeeze of your hands. That helpless moment becomes a permanent marker in their emotional memory. So the next time you reach for them, they'll brace, expecting that same loss of control. You'll think they're moody, but they're just protecting themselves from a memory you created. The truth is, cats don't hate affection. They just want to be the ones to offer it. When you let them come to you on their terms, everything changes. They'll nudge your hand, curl into your lap, maybe even purr against your chest. Because this time, it's their choice. That's real love for a cat. Not forced closeness, but earned closeness. Give them that freedom, and you'll get something far better than a hug. You'll get trust that lasts forever. Cats don't hold grudges, they hold memories. Their brains are wired for survival, not spite. In the wild, forgetting danger meant death, so they learned to link pain with memory. Even today, that instinct remains. They don't remember dates, they remember feelings. Who made them feel safe? Who made them flinch? A harsh sound, a grab, a scare, all get stored as emotional data. But the same wiring that remembers fear can also remember kindness. Every calm word, gentle touch, and predictable routine adds a new layer of trust. You can't erase a bad memory, but you can rewrite it with consistency and care. So if you've ever broken their trust, don't chase it. Rebuild it. Speak softly. Keep routines steady. Let them come to you. When they finally blink slowly or curl beside you again, that's not coincidence. That's forgiveness earned. If this made you see your cat a little differently, go show it. Give them space, offer a treat, and remember. They may not forgive instantly, but they'll never forget that you tried. If you felt this, winter doesn't just make your cat a little chilly, it quietly changes how their heart, kidneys, nerves, and even liver work, while they act like everything is fine. Most cats don't limp, whine, or complain when something feels wrong. They adapt, they sleep more, they move less, they avoid things quietly. That's why so many winter mistakes look harmless from the outside but slowly pile up inside your cat's body. Lowering the thermostat, moving the litter box, lighting cozy candles, ignoring static zaps. None of this feels like a big deal. But from your cat's point of view, winter is a 3-month stress test they never signed up for. What makes this worse is that cats are biologically wired to hide discomfort. In the wild, showing weakness meant becoming a target. That instinct never disappeared. So even when something feels off internally, most cats will simply slow down and conserve energy rather than show obvious pain. To us, that looks like calmness. To their body, it's constant compensation. So in this video, you're going to see winter through your cat's nervous system, not your thermostat setting. By the end, you'll know exactly which habits to change so your cat doesn't have to silently cope their way through the cold months. Let's start with the one mistake almost everyone makes without thinking, the thermostat. You come home, it's cold, you turn the heat on. Before bed, you turn it down to save money or because you like sleeping in a cool room. Under a thick blanket, your human body is fine. Your cat, on the other hand, is not sleeping inside a duvet fortress. When your home stays below roughly the upper 60s Fahrenheit for long periods, your cat's body has to work harder just to stay warm. Their circulation slows, and because cats naturally drink less in winter, they start to conserve water internally by concentrating their urine. Vets actually see more signs of mild dehydration and urinary issues in cold months, even in indoor cats that look fine. What's important to understand is that this isn't about one cold night. It's about repetition. Night after night, week after week, the body keeps adjusting, tightening, conserving, and compensating. Over time, that constant adjustment becomes stress rather than adaptation. Imagine waking up every single day in a cold room feeling stiff and sluggish, but you can't pull the covers up, can't grab a sweater, can't say, "Hey, can we please turn the heat up?" That's an older cat in winter. As cats age, it gets harder for them to maintain normal body temperature. Some vets now recommend keeping senior cats' main sleeping areas around about 70 degrees Fahrenheit in winter, especially at night, to avoid chronic low-grade stress on the kidneys and joints. That "they're fine, they have fur" mindset can quietly translate into years of extra work for organs that are already doing their best. The second winter habit looks adorable on Instagram. The cat melted into a bright square of sunlight by the window. Winter sun is powerful but tricky. The sun sits lower in the sky, beaming directly through windows for longer stretches. Your cat's fur heats up rapidly in that sunspot, and then, when they finally step away, cools just as fast in the rest of the chilly room. Their nervous system has to constantly recalibrate. Warm, cold, warm again. These micro-temperature swings seem harmless, but for older cats or cats with joint sensitivity, they quietly add up. Their body keeps having to adjust to these micro-temperature swings again and again throughout the day. Younger cats shrug this off, but in cats over about 7, those repeated warm-cold-warm cycles can subtly stress their system over time. And because that sun feels so good, many cats stay there in awkward positions way too long. They'll twist their spine, tuck their paws under, or flatten themselves against the window to soak up every ray. In the process, they sometimes delay eating, drinking, or using the litter box. What looks like cozy bliss can quietly throw off hydration, digestion, and routine. A cat that lies in the window all afternoon and then rushes to the box at night isn't just quirky. They might be juggling comfort against basic needs. Then there's the villain almost nobody takes seriously: static electricity. Winter air is dry. Heating systems strip moisture from the room, turning your home into a static factory. You touch a doorknob, feel a tiny zap, and move on. Your cat doesn't get that luxury. Your cat? Their entire body is covered in fur, basically a walking static battery. Every time they walk across synthetic blankets, carpets, or even rub against your clothes, electrons build up. Every time they touch metal bowls, beds, or even you, there's a chance of a little shock. Static that makes you say, ouch, can feel intense and alarming to an animal that didn't expect it. Each zap triggers a spike of stress hormones, and while the shock lasts a split second, that chemical stress can linger for hours. Over time, this can change how safe your cat feels in their own home. They may hesitate, they may flinch, they may stop approaching you the way they used to. Behaviorists suspect repeated static shocks contribute to cats becoming jumpier, more tense, or oddly avoidant in winter. Watch your cat closely. Do they suddenly hesitate before eating from their metal bowl? Do they flinch when you reach to pet them? Do they avoid certain blankets or beds that they used to love? Some cats even start pulling away from their favorite humans, not because they don't love them, but because that person equals getting zapped. The fix for this one is deceptively simple. Increase humidity in your home to around 40 to 50%. Ideally with a cool mist humidifier placed near your cat's favorite resting areas, but away from direct drafts. Switch out synthetic fleece and nylon blankets for cotton or other natural fibers where your cat likes to sleep. Before petting them, you can touch a metal object or lightly tap something grounded to discharge static. These tweaks sound minor, but for a cat that's been bracing for invisible zaps all winter, it can completely change how safe their own home feels. Now let's talk about something that feels cozy to you but quietly overwhelms your cat. Winter scents. Pine, cinnamon, vanilla candles, peppermint diffusers, those holiday vibes are basically a chemistry experiment in your living room. The problem is that cats' livers lack certain enzymes needed to properly break down many compounds found in essential oils and heavily scented products. That means airborne particles that barely register to you can, over time, build up in their system. Diffusers and sprays send tiny droplets into the air. Those droplets land on your cat's fur and surfaces they walk on. Because cats groom obsessively, they lick these residues off their coat day after day. You don't see a dramatic instant reaction. Instead, you might notice subtle changes. Your cat eats a little less, seems a bit less playful, or spends more time sleeping. It's easy to shrug that off as winter laziness or they're just getting older. But vets are increasingly asking owners about air fresheners, oils, and scented products when unexplained liver or respiratory problems show up. In the worst cases, essential oil exposure can cause coughing, breathing problems, wobbliness, drooling, vomiting, or even liver failure in cats. That doesn't mean every candle is instantly lethal. It does mean that running strong diffusers every night in the same room your cat sleeps in is not a neutral choice, especially if your cat has asthma, heart issues, or any underlying condition. Cozy scent season can become a slow, invisible health load they never asked for. Then there's the winter litter box mistake almost nobody talks about, the basement or garage move. When windows stay closed, smells build up. So a lot of owners think, I'll just move the litter box somewhere out of the way. To your cat's nervous system, it's a horror movie. A cat's paw pads are packed with nerve endings. Standing on cold concrete or freezing tiles is uncomfortable at the best of times. Now imagine having to stand still in a vulnerable squatting position on icy flooring while breathing dense cold air. Some cats respond by holding their urine longer to avoid the discomfort. That might sound like a small behavior change, but holding urine concentrates it, increasing the risk of bladder inflammation, urinary tract infections, and even dangerous blockages in male cats. Other cats decide the box just isn't worth it and start using warmer spots instead. Carpets, beds, laundry piles. Those accidents get labeled as bad behavior when they're actually a desperate attempt to stay comfortable. Cold, heavy air in basements and garages also irritates the respiratory system, especially in older or sensitive cats. Stack vulnerability, cold, smell, and isolation together, and every bathroom break becomes something to dread. So, what does a truly cat-friendly winter home look like? First, it respects temperature from a cat's point of view, not a human budget spreadsheet. That doesn't mean you have to roast yourself alive with heating. It means making sure your cat has guaranteed warm zones, especially at night and especially if they're older. Think raised beds away from drafts, soft blankets on chairs instead of floors, and keeping their main sleeping area around that comfortable upper 60s to low 70s range in winter. Second, it respects their hydration and urinary system. Cats naturally drink less in cold weather, which is why winter is a peak time for urinary issues. You can help by increasing wet food, offering slightly lukewarm water, and using a cat fountain to make drinking more appealing. Watch for warning signs: peeing less, straining, crying in the litter box, or repeatedly going in and out of the box with little output. Those are not quirks. They're red flags that need a vet, especially in winter. Third, it takes static seriously. This means treating humidity like a vital part of your cat's comfort, not just your skincare routine. Keep indoor humidity around 40 to 50%, avoid wrapping every surface in synthetic fleece, and discharge your own static before petting your cat. Fourth, it treats scents as chemicals, not vibes. If you love candles, use them in moderation and in rooms your cat doesn't spend long stretches in. Avoid running diffusers all day in the same closed room where your cat sleeps, especially with strong oils like eucalyptus, tea tree, citrus, or peppermint. If your cat has asthma or any respiratory issues, skip diffusers entirely. For fresh smell, focus on ventilation, cleaning, and unscented air purifiers instead of heavy fragrance. Finally, it treats the litter box like a health station, not an odor problem to hide. Keep the box in a warm, easily accessible, low-stress area of the house. Avoid making your cat march across freezing floors or into echoey, isolated spaces just to do something that already makes them feel vulnerable. If smell is an issue, upgrade the litter, scoop more often, or consider air purifiers, instead of banishing the box to what basically feels like a cold dungeon. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most winter mistakes aren't dramatic. You almost never see an instant collapse, a sudden crisis, or a huge behavioral explosion. That's exactly why they're so dangerous. They repeat quietly every single day. 8 hours of cold nights, weeks of static shocks, months of subtle scent exposure, dozens of uncomfortable litter box trips. Each one adds a tiny drop of stress into your cat's body. Over time, those drops fill the bucket. Your cat can't say, "My joints hurt more in the cold," or "That diffuser makes my chest feel tight," or "I hate peeing on that freezing floor." They can only show you in the smallest ways: hesitating, hiding, sleeping differently, becoming less social, or having mysterious health problems that show up months later. The good news? Almost all of these winter stressors are fixable with small, boring changes that no one on social media will ever praise you for, but your cat's body will absolutely notice. A slightly warmer sleeping zone, a moved litter box, a humidifier humming in the corner, a decision to light one unscented candle instead of running a diffuser for 6 hours. None of those feel heroic. All of them are, because winter doesn't have to be the season where your cat quietly suffers while you think they're just extra cuddly or sleepy because it's cold. With a few adjustments, it can become the season where your home feels genuinely safe to their joints, lungs, nerves, and kidneys, not just cozy to your hands and nose. If you want to go one layer deeper into what your cat experiences when you walk out the door and For all the love and care we lavish on our cats, many of us miss the little things that truly make them purr with contentment. Too often, we treat our feline friends like miniature versions of ourselves. They nap when we nap, eat when we eat, and expect affection on our schedule. But cats aren't tiny humans. Their happiness is built on patterns as old as their wild ancestors, and understanding those needs can dramatically improve their well-being. Here are some deeper, often overlooked things your cat craves, even if they don't meow for them. First, a predictable routine isn't just boring, it's deeply comforting for cats. In the wild, cats make mental maps of their territory and develop patterns of patrol, rest, and hunt. Domesticated cats carry that instinct inside. When you keep feeding times, play times, and quiet times roughly the same every day, your cat feels safe. If you randomly change meal times or move their favorite resting spot, it can cause subtle stress, even if they don't show it immediately. By respecting their internal clock, you give them a foundation of security. That's why many shy or anxious cats settle down. Once you establish a reliable daily rhythm, they know what to expect, and that knowledge helps them relax, explore, and engage. Second, vertical space matters far more than most owners realize. Shelves, cat trees, window perches, these aren't just cute accessories, they're emotional lifelines for your cat. In the wild, cats like to observe from above, where they feel powerful and safe. When indoor cats lack vertical surfaces, they may feel trapped or vulnerable. Providing climbing opportunities transforms your home into a multi-dimensional playground. But it's not enough just to buy a tall cat tree. Placement is key. Put perches near windows so your cat can watch the outside world. Add platforms around bookcases or cabinets. Make sure there are stable spots high up where they can both rest and survey their domain. When cats can own the vertical dimension, they feel more in control and less stressed. Third, interactive play is vital, but not the kind most people do. Tossing a ball around every now and then is fine, but that doesn't replicate hunting. Cats need to mimic the chase, the stalk, the pounce. Use wand toys, feathers, or laser pointers in short but intense sessions of 5 to 10 minutes. You're not just wearing them out, you're letting them unleash instincts. Even better is following up with a treat or a small snack when they catch the toy. That simulates the reward of prey. However, many owners use the toys purely for their own entertainment. Or worse, they forget to rotate them so the toys become stale and uninteresting. Rotate different types regularly and be deliberate. Play like a hunt. Reward like a hunt. And let your cat feel the joy of the chase. Fourth, rich, varied textures in the environment make a huge difference. Cats experience the world not just through smell or sight, but through their paws and whiskers. If their space is all hard floors and smooth fabrics, they lose out on sensory richness. Adding soft beds, textured mats, rugs, cardboard scratchers, and even safe natural items like untreated branches gives them tactile stimulation. Try putting different surfaces near their eating spot, resting spot, and play areas. Some cats love needing soft blankets, others prefer firm scratch pads. By giving them options, you offer them the freedom to express themselves physically. That simple change can turn an ordinary corner into a favorite lounging spot. Fifth, mental stimulation goes hand in hand with physical activity. Smart owners often overlook this. Cats are thinkers, not just sleepers. Puzzle feeders, treat dispensing toys, and hiding places filled with small surprises encourage them to solve problems. And that mental exercise keeps them sharp and content. But don't rely solely on store-bought toys. You can create enrichment easily, hide treats under cups, scatter kibble across low boxes, or build simple cardboard mazes. Even changing up the layout of their favorite spaces occasionally can challenge them intellectually. This creates purpose in their day and makes their indoor life more engaging. Sixth, gentle grooming and self-care opportunities deeply satisfy many cats, though not all. Brushing, combing, and petting can replicate the social grooming that wild cats do with each other. But you need to be sensitive. Use a soft brush, go with the grain, and watch for signs of stress, tail flicking, flattened ears. Also consider trimming their claws carefully, or providing soft surfaces where they can naturally wear them down. For long-haired cats, regular grooming prevents matting, but it also gives them a relaxing, almost meditative interaction with you. Don't force grooming. Make it an optional, positive ritual, and give them space if they pull away. When you do this right, brushing feels like a comforting routine, not a chore. Seventh, and often most ignored, is a proper resting sanctuary. Cats sleep a lot, but not all sleep is restful. They need a spot that feels safe, private, slightly elevated, and quiet. Many owners mistakenly believe a couch cushion or a laundry basket is enough, but the best resting places are tucked-away beds or hideouts where the cat can retreat. These spots need low traffic, soft bedding, and a view or vantage point if possible. Placing a hide box on a high shelf or in a corner gives your cat a personal refuge. This space becomes their retreat from stress, noise, or sudden disturbances, allowing them to rest deeply and recharge. Beyond these 7 concrete things, there's a powerful underlying principle. Cat happiness comes from choice. Your cat doesn't just want what you give them. They need the ability to choose. If every toy, bed, or perch is in one spot, they may not truly explore or use it. But spread things thoughtfully around your home, some up high, some low, some near windows, some tucked away, and they will naturally self-select according to their mood. Having options gives them autonomy, and autonomy is a key ingredient in trust and contentment. A cat with choices feels empowered, not trapped. Another often missed truth is that quiet companionship matters more than constant attention. Many cat owners overdo affection, thinking they're being loving, but cats don't always want non-stop petting or constant interaction. Sometimes they just want you in the same room doing your own thing while they nap or watch. Sit quietly near them, read, or work on your own task, but let them decide if they want to come closer. This creates a sense of peaceful coexistence where your presence is soothing, not overwhelming. That calm companionship helps build trust far more deeply than forced lap time. Lastly, don't forget healthcare and regular checkups. Invisible discomfort such as dental pain, arthritis, or digestive issues can make any cat grumpy or withdrawn. A cat that feels off may not vocalize it, but will hide, sleep poorly, or refuse favorite toys. Make sure they have a proper diet, clean water, and veterinary care. Low-level but chronic pain or discomfort is one of the biggest barriers to a truly happy cat. If you solve physical discomfort, you unlock a world of contentment they might not have shown otherwise. Even beyond physical needs and daily routines, there's an entire emotional world inside your cat that most people never fully understand. Cats may seem independent, aloof, or even mysterious, but the truth is that they experience a broad spectrum of feelings: security, curiosity, affection, stress, boredom, fear, and even subtle forms of joy. When we ignore these emotional needs, we unintentionally limit their happiness. But when we acknowledge them, when we learn to read their subtle cues and shape their environment thoughtfully, something incredible happens. Our cats become more confident, more affectionate, and far more connected to us than we ever imagined. One of the most understated sources of happiness for cats is positive predictability mixed with controlled novelty. A lot of owners assume cats want everything to stay the same forever, but that's not exactly true. Cats like predictable frameworks, like feeding times, safe spaces, and household rhythms. But within that framework, they actually love small, safe surprises. For instance, rotating their scratching posts occasionally, moving a toy to a new corner, or placing a different blanket in their bed can spark curiosity. These micro-novelties activate their exploratory instincts without throwing their world into chaos. The trick is balance. Keep the emotional foundation stable, but sprinkle little changes that stimulate their inner hunter and explorer. When done right, you give your cat both comfort and excitement. Another crucial but often overlooked factor in feline happiness is a sound environment. Humans tend to fill their homes with noise, TVs, phones, talking, appliances, sudden sounds, but cats have hypersensitive hearing, tuned for quiet prey and subtle environmental cues. Loud or unpredictable noise can stress them more deeply than we realize. Something as simple as a blender suddenly turning on can make a cat feel like they're under attack. To create a more cat-friendly environment, think in terms of sound layers, soft background noise, calm rooms, and places where they can retreat from auditory chaos. Even providing a box or enclosed bed muffles sound and can dramatically lower stress levels. On the flip side, some sounds make cats happy. Gentle talking, soft classical music, bird chirping videos played quietly. Understanding your cat's sound tolerance helps shape a more peaceful, emotionally supportive home. Happiness for a cat is rarely one big thing. It's a collection of small, consistent moments that build trust and fulfillment. When you stack all these together, controlled novelty, sound comfort, warmth, scent familiarities, territorial confidence, emotional safety, autonomy, mental stimulation, and ritual bonding, you create a life where your cat doesn't just look content, they are content from the inside out. And the best part? None of this requires expensive gear or complicated training. It just requires awareness, empathy, and a willingness to meet your cat on their terms rather than ours. Once you start adjusting your home and habits to support these deeper needs, you'll notice subtle transformations, softer body language, more confident walking, more curiosity, longer naps, deeper purrs, and a stronger bond between you and your cat. Happiness shows up in small ways, but once you see it, you'll never miss it again. When you bring all of these together, routine, vertical access, real play, varied textures, mental challenges, grooming, sanctuary, choice, calm companionship, and health, you create not just a happy cat, but a thriving cat. It's not about being a perfect owner. It's about being aware and intentional. Many of these changes are small, gradual updates to how you live with your cat, but they compound massively in terms of emotional and physical satisfaction. So if you love your cat, don't just feed them and call it a day. Try offering a new perch, rotate their toys, brush them gently, or build them a quiet retreat. Observing how they respond will teach you more than any book ever could. Your cat doesn't ask for diamonds, but they do ask quietly for dignity, choice, and care. And once you meet those deeper needs, you'll see a cat who doesn't just live in your home, they truly belong there.